What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love After Lockup Season 5, Episode 3, The $40,000 Felon. So let's get started with a new couple. We have Joynami and Red. Joynami is 29 years old. She is a medical assistant. Red is 30 years old. He was charged with and convicted of first-degree robbery, and he had served 10 years in prison, and it is 5 days until his release. Joynami, she tells us that she is full Navajo. She is proud of being from the Navajo Nation. She met Red about 7 years ago. They've never met in person. They've never been around each other physically. Everything has taken place, obviously, online, FaceTime, and telephone. Joynami says that she's only had one night stands, that she's never had like a full-blown relationship with the man. Anytime that she's been intimate with the man, it's just been through one night stands. Now, that is the saddest thing that I have ever heard of. I think at some point, as a 29-year-old woman, after your maybe third, fourth night, one night stand, you need to seriously reevaluate, your love life, your life in general, and figure out exactly what's going on. Why is it that they only want to hit it and quit it, and they can't give you what you're looking for? Maybe you need to shut it down, okay? Shut it down until you can find someone who is willing to really devote the time and energy into you, or just to devote the time and energy into yourself. Because relationships, and we're human beings and we don't want to be alone and all this and that, but baby, being in a bad relationship or having men just come run through you, that is not the end all and be all of life. Okay, I know that she cannot be happy living this kind of life where the only time that they want to be with her is when they can be with her for a couple of hours and then they split. So you need to shut it down. Okay, shut it down. And it looks like maybe she has finally been able to shut it down, because she's been talking to this guy, Red, for the past 7 years. So she also tells us that 4 years ago, when she was, I guess, 3 years into her relationship with Red, she cheated on Red. She said that she got lonely, and she got lonely because Red is always getting in trouble in prison, and he always ends up in the hole. And when he's in the hole, they're not communicating. And so she got lonely. She cheated on him, which to me, I don't see how you can cheat on someone that is in prison, someone who, y'all are not married. Okay, whatever y'all are doing, it's not dating, it's pen paling or communicating. That's it. But fine, whatever. You cheated on him, and she got lonely. She met somebody. I guess she had a one night stand, and she got pregnant because she has he looks like he's about 3 years old. She has a 3-year-old little boy that she is raising by herself. And she says that her child's father has no idea that he even exists. And when Red comes out, Red will be the only father figure that her son has ever known. So her story just gets sadder and sadder and sadder. Whether or not your son knows his father, it's not your decision to make. That's a decision that your child makes. And I think until he's able to make that decision, I think that Joynami should do all that she can to make sure that this child will eventually be able to meet, or at least know, who his father is. I think it's absolutely careless and irresponsible for adults to bring children into this world and not allow the children to have the benefit of knowing both parents. Now, where their relationship goes as father and son is up to the father and the son. But I think that he should always know who his father is and have you knew who he was because you laid down with the man. So at some point you knew who he was. So how come your child doesn't have the privilege of knowing who his other half is? It's just bizarre to me. So, Joy, and the next time that we see Joy, she is at the pawn shop with one of her sisters, and she has a gang load of sisters. I couldn't differentiate who was who. She's at the pawn shop with one of her sisters because she wants to get $500 to go see Red for his release. I guess to go pick him up. So she needs money for a hotel, maybe money for gas. I don't know. So she's trying to pawn all this stuff, and her sister's like, "You're pawning stuff that was given to us by our grandmother. This is family family heirloom things that you're pawning away just to go see someone that you've never met in person. He's been in prison for the past 10 years of his life, and you're giving up, precious, important things for this guy. And she's like, well, I need the money. What do you want me to do? So Joy tells us that over the past 7 years of her being with Red, she has spent $40,000 on this man. Now, Joy to me doesn't look like she's seen $40,000 in her whole entire life, but she claims that in the past 7 years alone, she has spent $40,000 on Red. She says that every time that she got paid, she makes sure to, cut him off a bit, give him a little bit of her paycheck. She says that every time that she got an income tax return, she would give him part of her income tax return. How many times and how much money have you put in your son's college fund or in your son's savings account? How much are you putting in there? Does it surpass $40,000? Your son's only 3 years old, and you've been with, what's his name, Red, for 7 years, and you said that you spent $40,000 on him. How much has been saved up for your son? So she says that she would even go without Wi-Fi. She would go without, what did she say? Wi-Fi and her phone. She would go without phone usage because she wouldn't have enough money to pay for this because she's so busy taking care of this man that's in prison. Her story is sad. Her story angers me, but it shouldn't. Her story is pathetic. I would not be on television telling people this stuff. These are the kind of things, this is the kind of information that maybe even those closest to me, I don't even think that they would even know, because there's no way I'm going to admit on television that I have spent $40,000 on a man who is behind bars while I have a whole child that I'm trying to take care of. There's no way that I would get on television and talk about, all of my relationships have just been one night stands. I've never had a real full-blown boyfriend. I've never had anybody want to spend more than one night with me. Everybody just wants to hit it. There's just no way I would get on television to talk about these things. Your son is going to be seeing this one day. That alone would embarrass me enough to keep my mouth shut. But, Jonami, I guess she's trying to be open and transparent with us so that we can relate to her and so that we can root for her. I don't know what she's trying to do, but her story to me was really, really, really sad. And, I can go on and talk about, when Red comes out, he's probably just going to end up using her for her money. They're not going to get along. He's probably going to end up cheating on her, but I'm not going to put that out there in the universe. We'll just have to wait and see how it all works out for your girl, Joynami. But yeah, that's a very sad, sad case. Moving on to Andy and Brittany. So the birthday party is over. Remember last week, Brittany was going to her son's birthday party, and Andy and his son had driven her there along with her daughter, and she had told Andy that she did not want him to come into the birthday party. And so Andy was like, so I can't meet your kids, because all of her kids were there. She's got 4 kids in total. And Brittany was like, no, I'm not ready for you to meet my children. So she made him wait in the parking lot while she went in and had a good time with the cake that he made for her son's birthday party. So if it was me, if I was Andy, there's no way I would have been sitting around in a parking lot for not even for 2 minutes. I would have been like, well, I helped you get here. I'm pretty sure you can find your way back home to the hotel room, wherever you got to go. And I would have left her there, but hey. So the birthday party is over. She got to see all of her children and spend time with all of her kids. And after the party, she comes out telling Andy that she's just too tired to go home. I'm assuming home being his house, which is, I guess that's what she meant. So she goes, well, I'm too tired to go home. Can we just stay in a hotel for tonight? And, Andy, he is a simp, so he's going to do whatever she says, just like the way he waited for her in the parking lot for 2 hours or however long it was. So they go ahead and they get a hotel. Brittany kept on, talking about, I'm so tired. So you know exactly what's not going to be happening that night, right? Because she's already laying down the groundwork of like, when we get to this hotel room, I need you to leave me the hell alone, stay the hell away from me, because I'm just way too tired. So, Brittany says that even though they had been maintaining a relationship in prison, it's really awkward in person. Which tells me you don't have any feelings for this man at all. You don't hold him in any kind of regard at all. You don't like him, because I feel like if you truly, truly have feelings for this person, then being out in prison with him, being out in the public with him would not be awkward. It would be the best thing ever, because you've fallen in love with him and you want to be with him and you like him and you enjoy being around him. But for her to be like, yeah, we were talking in prison, and we had a great relationship in prison, but in the real world it's just so awkward. Yeah, because you don't like him. That's all that is. You're not attracted to him, you don't like him, and that's why it's hella awkward. So nothing happened that night. The next day, they didn't. So the producers asked Andy, were y'all intimate? Of course, he says no, and it left him very frustrated. Brittany tells us that he was trying to do a little something, something. He was trying to like hug her, kiss her, or whatever. And the way she was talking about it, I mean, she's talking as if I don't know, like it was like he was some disgusting, nasty creature that crawled out of the mud that was trying to touch her, the way she was talking about it. So you don't want his hugs, you don't want his kisses, but you sure so want his money and the cell phone and the clothes that he bought you. So Brittany has another very difficult conversation with her daughter Gracie. I don't know what's going on between her and her daughter Gracie. One minute, oh mommy, and oh Gracie, and they're having a good time and they're hugging on each other. The next minute, they're Gracie's crying and saying all these things to her mom, like her mom is really hurting her. I don't know what's going on. So this latest conversation, I think it was, I don't know who called who, but they're on the phone talking, and Brittany asks her daughter, so are you going to come over and see me? And Gracie tells her mom that she doesn't want to see her. She says that she just can't do this right now, because in the last conversation that they had together, Brittany had said something like, I know you'll always be there for me no matter what. So the way that Gracie took that was that, her mom sees her like uses her like a crutch or something. Like, she told her mom, you make me feel like no matter what, you can go out there, go to prison, do drugs, do whatever. And that Gracie is always going to be there waiting for you. Gracie is always going to be there holding it down for you. And you're taking advantage of the fact that I'm always going to be there for you. And Brittany was like, no, that's not what I meant, and that's not how I see it, and you misunderstood me. So they're having this really crazy conversation, and Gracie's crying, and she says she just wants to go to sleep and take a nap, so she can't do this right now. And so then Brittany says, well, after you sleep, after your nap, you're going to come see me for us to have girl time. Basically, she's trying to escape Andy. She wants to use her daughter to get away from Andy. That's how I saw it, because this is your boyfriend, this is your man, and you don't want to spend any time alone with him. So obviously you only want to see your daughter because you're trying to get away from Andy. So she ain't fooling nobody. Brittany, you're not fooling anybody. Now, Andy, let me holler at you real quick. Andy, you are too old, too experienced in life, not just with the years that you've lived, but with the profession that you used to have as a cop, for you to be falling for the okie doke like this, especially when you worked around inmates, you put people in jail, you know how the game goes. And for you to be all disappointed because she didn't want to sleep with you, she didn't want you at the birthday party, she doesn't want you to meet her kids, that alone right there, I don't know what's not connecting to you, Andy. I don't know why you haven't taken your phone back, taken the money back, and gotten in your car, taken your son and gone on home and left her wherever the hell you found her, because that's what you really need to be doing. Because forget about how she used you when she was in prison. Forget about that. Now that she's out, the things that she's done since she's been out, you can't connect the dots and figure out that she's just not that into you. With all the things that she's done to you since she's been out, and the fact that she doesn't want to be anywhere near you, that alone, Andy, you can't see the picture that she's painting for you. Anyways, so I'm just like flabbergasted how he's trying to be like a real idiot. Like, Andy, you're too grown, you're too experienced. Your kids told you she was using you. Your cop friend told you that she was using you. I'm telling you that she's just using you, and you still don't want to pick up what we're trying to put down for you. But hey, it's up to you if you want to look like a complete idiotic buffoon on this television show. It's perfectly fine with us. Moving on to Renika and Asante. So last week, what we saw was Renika's friend, I think her name is Ray. She had hooked up Renika with a private investigator to figure out what's going on with Asante because after their first night together, Asante just skipped out. He left, and she doesn't know where he is or what he's doing. So the PI was able to confirm that he is with the other woman, the woman that had sent money to Renika to help bail out Asante, who Asante referred to as his auntie, but the woman had confirmed to Renika that no, I'm not his auntie, I'm actually his girlfriend. And Renika calls her the cougar because she's 44 years old and she's been talking to Asante for the past 2 years. So the private eye confirms all of this because Renika knew all of this. She didn't even need a private eye to figure this out. She knew that Asante was up to no good because the woman told her. The other woman told her straight up, I am Asante's girlfriend. I don't know why you got to have a private eye for this. So the private eye is like, okay, I know exactly where they're at. So you got two options. We can roll up for you to see who he's with at the hotel, at the hotel, or you can revoke his bond and then he'll go right back to jail. And she goes, well, I want to do both. I want to do all of the above. Okay, fine. So the PI calls the number to the girl, to the other woman, and he pretends to be the front desk employee. So he says something like, oh, this is so-and-so from the front desk. Your checkout time is at blah, blah, blah. And the woman says, no, my checkout time is actually at whatever time. And so then he's like, oh, okay. That's what I needed to confirm what your checkout time was. Do you need any extra towels or anything brought up to the room? The lady says, yes, can you please bring us some extra towels and some extra bed sheets? Okay, fine. That's disgusting, but okay, fine. So, after that, they're getting ready to roll out or whatever. And the PI gets a text message because he called the lady from the cell phone that he had. So the PI gets the text message from that lady, the other woman, and says, I know what game you're playing. I know that you don't work at the front desk because this hotel does not deliver towels to the rooms. Yeah, because you're staying in a Roach Motel. Okay, you're staying in some fly-by-night, pay-by-the-hour Roach Motel. So they don't deliver towels to the rooms. And I know, stop playing on my phone. Leave me alone. I know what the game is. Or I know what's going on. Okay, fine. Then in the background, we see Renika. She's on the phone with Asante, and they're having a full-blown argument, right? So he's on speakerphone, and they're yelling at each other. He's telling her he's trying to get his driver's license and social security card. And Renika's like, I know you're with that girl. How could you do this to me after all that I've done for you? I bailed you out. Okay, Renika, the other one bailed him out too. Okay, she bailed him out too. She's been holding him down as well. So he owes her just as much loyalty as he owes you. Okay, you're not any better than her. You and her are in the same exact position. I don't know why Renika doesn't see that. You're not any better than her. She thinks that he's cheating on her with you. You think he's cheating on you with her. Y'all are in the same exact position, girl. Y'all are just, two halves of the same idiotic situation. So, they're arguing back and forth. Renika tells him how much she sacrificed, etc., etc. The whole thing is just really, really stupid. I don't know what that PI thought, what he got himself into. And the fact that, he was going to take Renika to the hotel for her to confirm that Asante was with her, I think that's just not a good idea. Because once Renika sees them, if they're even going to go through with it, but once Renika sees him with that woman at that hotel, the force of God cannot contain Renika in that car. Renika's going to come flying out like a bat out of hell, and she's going to attack, and she's going to jump all over them. So I don't know why the PI wants to put her in that situation. Her friend Ray was like, I don't want to go. I'm not going to be any parts of that. Leave me out of that. I'm not going. I don't want to be anywhere near that drama. Moving on to KRock and Brittany. So when we see KRock and Brittany, we are at KRock's mother's home. His family is there. They did this wonderful cookout for him, and it was nice to see KRock just chowing down on, his mother's home cooking and the barbecue and all of that. It was really nice to see that. So he's up there with Brittany, and the family has really accepted Brittany. Brittany seems to be like, she does live with them. So yeah, she fits in really well with everybody else, and she says that, if only my family would accept KRock the way that his family has accepted me. So after that, they leave, they go go to the hotel. KRock feels like, they need to get to know each other all over again, because the relationship that they had in prison is different from the relationship that they're trying to start on the outside. So he talks about how they're going to have to learn each other all over again. So in the room, Brittany gives KRock all of the gifts that she bought him. She says she spent over $3,000 to $4,000 just on the gifts alone. She bought him a Citizen watch, a nice wallet. She also got him some Louis Vuitton shoes. So she went all out for her man. And so, they make it do what it do. It's time for some adult time. Okay, fine, we get it. The next day, they're getting ready to leave because he has to meet with this PO, and they have like an hour to get there. So they're trying to like get everything together, get all their stuff together, because they got to leave. They got to check out as well. So they get in the car, they're driving down there. They kind of get into like an argument on their way there, some light bickering, but it kind of made me think, KRock seems like he doesn't have a lot of patience with Brittany. So Brittany's trying to put the address in her phone for the GPS, and he's telling her, stop texting and concentrate on the road. And she goes, I'm not texting. I'm trying to get the address, the GPS. So I don't know if KRock knows how to do that or not, but they ended up arriving with 10 minutes to spare, but they arrived at the wrong PO building. So they have to go to a whole nother city because that's where his PO actually is. And when they showed us that part where they had realized they're at the wrong PO building, I kind of got nervous for Brittany because I thought KRock was going to get really, really mad and start yelling and screaming. KRock to me seems like he might have a really bad temper. And Brittany tells us that she's usually very submissive with KRock, but when she's out of patience with him, the Latina comes out and she can go toe to toe with him. That's what she tells us, and that's what we need to see, Brittany, because we don't want KRock just running all over you. Moving on to Melissa and Louie. Louie's finally free after I think it's been 9 or 10 years in prison. So him and Melissa and his mother Donna, they arrive at Donna's home, and like I said, Donna doesn't really talk. She just kind of yells and barks at them. So they'll go back to Louie's mother's house, and Louie doesn't want to stay there. He says, being there brings back all his bad memories of when he was getting in trouble all the time, his drug dealing friends coming over to the house. So the home really doesn't have that warm and fuzzy feeling for him. It just kind of triggers all kinds of, negative thoughts and bad memories. And he also, of course, he wants to bang Melissa, so he doesn't want to stay there. He wants to go to a hotel and spend time with his woman. So Melissa and Louie, they're in the bedroom and they're talking about, and so how are we going to do this? How are we going to get the hell out of here? His mom shows up at the door and she just starts yelling, what you doing? What are y'all doing in here? And so after that, they sit down, they're having dinner, and over dinner, Louie and his mom are having a very deep conversation about exactly how the mother fits in Louie's life now. And Louie tries to convince his mother, Mom, it's not going to change between us. We're always going to be together. I'm not going anywhere. We're always going to be together. I just don't have to be here all the time. I got to live my life. I got to be a man, be an adult, take care of my business. And the mother's like, no, you're going to have to stay here. You need to stay right here, because she wants to keep a very short leash on him. She thinks that if she keeps a very short leash on him, he won't get in trouble again. That's not necessarily true. What's going to keep Louie from getting in trouble is Louie not wanting to get in trouble and wanting to do right. So he can be anywhere in the world and still do the right thing. He doesn't have to be, attached to his mother by her apron strings to be able to live a decent life. And that's what his mother needs to understand, that no matter how close you try to keep him to you, if he doesn't want to do better, he's going to end up back in prison. It's not going to matter. So the mother needs to kind of let him go, let him be free, let him be a man, let him be an adult, but she doesn't want to. So then they start talking about, does she feel like he's choosing Donna over her? Does she feel like she's in competition with Donna for his time and attention? And she basically does. She does feel like maybe Louie's pushing her out to fit Melissa in. And it's not like that. He's a grown man. He needs to spend time with his chick. You can't treat him like a little boy. And I know as a mother, you want to keep your children close because you feel like you're their best protector and you're the only one that can keep them safe. But in this situation with Louie, he's a grown man. Mom, you're going to have to let him go because it doesn't matter where he is, who he's with. If he doesn't want to do right, he won't do right. If he wants to do right, he'll do right. And I just can't imagine what it must be like, to be in prison all these years and you come home and your mom won't let you do anything. So She tells Melissa, I got your couch ready. You're going to sleep on the couch. Louie, you're going to sleep in your room. Ain't nobody going nowhere because the PO might show up in the middle of the night to do a check and then you won't be here. So, no, you're not leaving. And so Melissa and Louie, they have other plans. So they're trying to figure out how they're going to be able to sneak out in the middle of the night so they can have some grown folk time. Moving on to Chelsea and Mikey. Now, Chelsea's our hearing impaired young lady. Mikey, her boyfriend, he's finally out of prison, and so she goes to get him, and his dad passed away when he was younger, and we know that his mom recently passed away, so basically it was just Chelsea there to pick him up. And so it was really sweet. They're really adorable. They were so cute together. This is the couple that I'm rooting for, Chelsea and Mikey. I hope that Mikey is not on that BS, because Chelsea tells us that men take advantage of her. Her relationships don't ever work out because men take advantage of her because she's deaf. And that broke my heart. So hopefully, but Mikey also, he's also kind of hearing impaired. I think he has to wear a hearing aid, and without the hearing aid, he can't hear at all. And he's been learning sign language. And so hopefully, because he's taken that extra step to be able to get to know her better and to be able to communicate with her better, and because he himself also has a hearing impairment, hopefully it's going to work out between them. So he was sentenced to prison for 16 years, got a 16-year sentence. He did 4, and he's going to do 6 years on paper, 6 years parole. So, and then, he still has to meet her children and all this and that. And she tells us that out of her 3 children, her 2 older kids have the same dad, and their dad is in their life. Her younger child, his dad is not in his life. And kind of like the only father figure he really knows, I guess, is Mikey. I don't know why the father of his older siblings isn't like a father figure for him. But anyways, so she says her younger child kind of sees Mikey as, that father figure. And so Mikey, you have a lot of responsibilities ahead of you. Not only you got Chelsea to worry about, you got these 3 kids to worry about as well. But we'll see how it works out. But this is the couple that I'm rooting for, and I hope it works out for them. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate you spending your time with me. And on your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.